Hello everyone, welcome back for another shaving video. Today I've decided to do a shave head-to-head comparison between two razors that look very similar. Over here I have the Merkur 34C, the head, and over here I have RazoRock Goat. So, as you know, and probably if you watched my RazoRock Goat review, you know that this razor was inspired by the original Merkur 34C over here. And I'm being asked frequently about the difference, both in the comments or in different conversations that I have with some of you guys. And people constantly kind of like ask what's the difference. And I point them to my video, I share my impressions as well while we're having conversation. But I decided that it might be interesting to try and do shave with both of these razors. And if you watch some reviews and discussions online, you know that they're very different categories. Not only that they're made out of different metals. When it comes to the 34C, there is no stainless steel option. And when it comes to the Goat done by RazoRock, it's a fully stainless steel razor. So we have different weights, and in order to compensate for that, I use the same handles over here in stainless steel material. These are the handles from RazoRock Barber Pole. These are my favorite handles over here. Very comfortable, nice length for me. Both RazoRock and Merkur, they don't have official stats released on their websites about blade exposure and blade gap. But what I know from discussions online, and something that you probably will be able to see easily over here, is that the Merkur compared to the Goat, if you imagine, currently they're not loaded with blade, so it's easier to kind of like see the gaps. If you see, they're similar, but they're a little bit different. When it comes to the blade exposure, it's kind of like obvious the more you look at the heads next to each other, that the curvature of the top cap is a little bit more inwards in the 34C. So this probably contributes to what many people are pointing out, that this is with a negative blade exposure, and the Goat done by RazoRock, it's with more of neutral blade exposure over here, if you see the alignment. It's really hard to see, and I hope that the video will do justice, but when you have them next to each other, you can kind of like see, and also some of the details. The CNC machining, of course, will add more precision, lower tolerance for mistakes, compared to the cast alloy metal that it's used over here. You see like the edges are a bit more rounded. And yeah, the other thing that it's obvious when you have them next to each other is that the Goat is a little bit longer, because the side edges of the blade in the Goat are covered, and in my specific version over here, they're sticking out a little bit. One thing to note, some of you pointed out in my previous video for RazoRock Goat, is that the new version of Merkur, the 34C head, is also wider, so they also cover the side tabs, if that's something that you care about. Okay, other than that, nothing really fancy. 3-piece razor. I'm gonna load them with Gillette Nasset over here, brand new blades. So let's prepare the razors. First, the 34C. You can see the blade edges here, the tabs sticking out. A bit hard to focus. And at the bottom here of the base plate, it might be a bit hard to see. I'll try to just move it so you can see the reflection, but you can see the chrome plated kind of like finish of this one, right? It's quite obvious that it's not stainless steel when you look at the bottom. And here, the RazoRock Goat. nicely aligned. You can see the sides are covering the blade perfectly, and it's machine finish, but it's smoother and they don't have that textured look that many chrome plated razors do have at the bottom, and you can see the stamps of RazoRock at the bottom. Let's have the two razors next to each other. You can see the base plate over here sticking out a bit more to cover the blades. And let's see at the sides if we can focus these. Yeah, I can kind of like see when I look at the blades. It's quite hard on the camera, but what I was talking about, the negative and the positive and the neutral exposure, it's kind of like visible over here. Yeah, the base plate over here extrudes a little bit more forward than the line of the top cap for the 34C. Okay, again, we know what to expect, just as I mentioned, and if you watch some of my videos with both razors, this will be for sure more efficient, and this will be more of an autopilot, really smooth, really popular razor, one of the GOAT razors for everyone. That's why I assumed that RazoRock picked that bold name for their take on this one. But before I start, I'll keep this one on this side. This is the 34C, and the RazoRock GOAT on this side. So I'll keep them on both sides of the sink so I don't mess them up. And yeah, the handles are doing decent job equalizing the weight factor. There is probably a little bit more balance weight wise towards the head for the GOAT, but that's expected. It's slightly heavier compared to the other material that they use for the 34C. But overall, just holding them in my hands, almost identical. So this weight difference won't be a factor for my shave. Oh, and before I move to the shave, something that I frequently forget, the price point. Stainless steel, CNC machined, made in Canada. This one is, I think it's around 89 US dollars, or in the ballpark of 130 Canadian when I purchased it. And the Merkur 34C, they have many varieties in terms of handles that you may pick, and you can find it online around 30 to 40 Canadian dollars, and when it's on discount, even for cheaper, depending on the handle that you picked. In my case, I have this one here, and the original handle is the one for 1904 or 42C, if I recall correctly. But the heads are all identical, the 34C heads. Let's prepare the face. Okay, nice warm water for the face. And I'll go for Terry soap today. That's an excellent, excellent soap. This is an Aventus dupe, Creed Aventus. I have it lathered over here in my bowl. The lather was staying for a while. Hopefully it's not dried out. It seems pretty good. I added a bit extra water. And this is my trusty trotter with the Mula STF knot. I don't know if you can see how shiny this lather is. I added extra water and it's quite hydrated. Feels great on the skin. Okay, starting with the 34C. That razor is just an obvious choice if you need a autopilot, hassle-free shave. Really good choice for that. I don't recall if I used Gillette Nasset in it, but so far it's good. Going over 2 days of growth. And yeah, when it comes to the blade feel, you really need to focus on getting the blade very good. If you have skin irritation or you're a beginner, perfect choice. Excellent first pass, and yeah, with terry soap, that was great. It also feels, as I mentioned, the handle feels really with really good balance, even though that the head is not stainless steel. Actually, I'm surprised how comfortable it feels. Okay, the other side we have RazoRock Gold. As you can see, the stamping at the bottom. Immediately, even by the audio feedback, I don't know if the microphone catches it. Even by the audio feedback, without feeling it, you can tell that the blade is doing more work. The razor is smooth, but because of that more blade forward geometry that they have over here, it doesn't glide as effortless as the 34C. 34C, in my opinion, is really hard to beat in terms of extremely smooth glide while you're shaving with it, especially against the grain pass, which we'll see if I'll confirm during my third pass. And yeah, I'm not bashing this for being not smooth. It's a smooth, comfortable razor. All I'm saying is that it's just nitpicky comparison, the fine details, and analyzing all the differences between these two, as this one is inspired by the 34C. And yeah, way more blade feel compared to the 34C. That being said, for people that like really, really kind of like aggressive razors with a lot of blade feel, this may be still a little bit mild, but it's not inefficient razor on any way. I think that if I recall correctly, based on the description, this was in the same chart place of RazoRock where they put it next to the Lupus 72 and Game Changer 84. So surprisingly efficient, because many people say I like the 34C, but it's not as efficient as some other razors that I have, and I prefer not to use it. So this one is way more efficient. Even without touching my face, I can confirm that. Yeah. It's a little bit longer stubble left. Again, 2 days of growth, so we were going to have maybe a bit more obvious differences after the first pass if I had 3 or 4 days of growth. But it's quite obvious that, yeah, that razor, as expected, the goat is more efficient. Okay, rinse the face. One more check. Yeah. A bit more left on this side, the Merkur 34C, but the difference is not that big. We'll see after the third pass. Okay, second pass. First with the Merkur 34C. See the bottom, no stamping. Really comfortable across the grain. Yeah, it's one of these razors that you just want to keep gliding it on your skin. Yeah, that's why it's so popular. Okay, the other side with RazoRock Gold. Yeah, you start feeling the same as the first pass. More blade feel. That naturally translates to slightly less smoothness for the gliding. It's still smooth and comfortable to use razor. Okay, the second pass is done. Couple of pimples didn't make it. And here is the interesting part now in terms of efficiency. The gold side, um, I can actually finish my shave here. Not complete BBS, but I have to say 70 to 75% in that ballpark. It took care very well of the stubble. It's not super forward with the blade feel, so it's not blade feel forward, but it's so efficient, that razor. Yeah, it's doing such a good job, the goat. And yeah, Merkur 34C is starting to fall behind. Here it's obvious that I need a third pass. And we're gonna try to do something different. I'm gonna lather only this side of my face. I'm gonna do my third pass first, and we're gonna see how it compares to the second pass of the goat. Okay. Oh, and before that, something about the nasset in the goat. I haven't used it for a couple of weeks, but I feel that the nasset is not working as well as the Gillette Silver Blue. I think that it was Gillette Silver Blue that I used in in the razor before. Still smooth and comfortable shave. Okay, just light coating for this half of the face. Let's go with third pass against the grain, Merkur 34C. When it comes to against the grain, this razor, it's the most comfortable, smoothest, really, really big confidence. It's just the golden standard. trying to do more buffing because it's comfortable. Okay, so third pass done, only on this side here, my left. The mustache area is on par. Here slightly better after the third pass, very close. Here it's on par as well, equalizing the second pass of the goat. And the neck, and here the jawline. Jawline is mostly on par, slightly better on the Merkur side, and the neck also slightly better with the Merkur side, just slightly better. Took care of the problematic spots a bit better. Again, here I'm still second pass. Now I'm gonna do third pass over here. Third pass with the goat on my right side. Not much stubble left, but it's there. If you're chasing that ultimate BBS smoothness, it's just such a good and efficient razor. And again, very comfortable to use against the grain. That blade feel reminds you to be more careful with the pressure. And when it comes to the Merkur, I don't have any worry if I add extra pressure even with a heavy handle. Okay, 3 passes on both sides. Just one tiny spot here left on my problematic area. The rest here were full on BBS. Super smooth, super close. And here is just, when you press it especially, you know what I'm talking about. When you chase the BBS, obvious difference, but it's not too far off. And again, for the days that you need just autopilot, shave without irritating your skin, yeah, the 34C is doing still excellent job. Okay, I'll just finish a few spots with the goat and we're gonna summarize. The residual slickness is so good that really you don't need much terry soap. Fantastic performance. And you can hear the blade taking care of that extra stubble. So here we are, 4 passes. I've never done that in the channel, right? Can't recall any other comparison that I had to do it. Over here, quite a bit more left. Here we are. Now we are full on BBS. Not much left from the 34C, but the goat is taking care of what's there. And again, I expected that. This is neutral blade exposure. This one negative on the 34C. Okay, let's do the alum block real quick, because I had a couple of pimples that didn't survive the shave. The alum is not gonna be a judge for this shave. And yeah, I can feel some sting, especially where the pimples were and in my area here. So the goat is really efficient. It's actually surprisingly efficient. Not much blade feel, but it's there, just to let you know. So it's quite easy to overdo it. And I think that the nascent blade also contributes a little bit more. When it comes to the 34C, this is a consistent, irritation-free shave for me. But again, on this side I did 4 passes. So the alum feedback today is around 3.5 out of 10. In a couple of areas, maybe close to 4, where the pimples were. And that kind of like backs up what I already mentioned about the goat's efficiency. Time to finish with the splash, matching splash, Terry Soap Prestige Vibe. Okay, before I summarize my impressions for the razors, I use Terry Soap Prestige Vibe, the set, matchy, as we do almost every time. My trusty Trotter, gorgeous brush with a Mula STF synthetic knot. And the spotlight was on these 2 razors today, the 34C and RazoRock Gold, both using stainless steel handles, just to reduce the variables. And I personally didn't discover anything unexpected. Of course, this one more efficient, both very smooth. This is the ultimate autopilot razor for irritation-free, smooth gliding, gentle on the skin, good for beginners. Yeah, excellent razor, the 34C. This one, if you want to dial up the efficiency, if you want something in stainless steel material, RazoRock is offering you a visual tribute to the 34C. But in terms of shave and feel, very different. More efficient, a little bit more blade feel out there, which will satisfy the needs of anyone who seeks that extra efficiency on top of the 34C. And I know that RazoRock released recently also the Plus Plate. I don't know if I personally have any interest even trying the Plus Plate, because this razor feels mild in terms of blade feel, but it's medium to medium high efficiency in my personal ranking. So it's taking care of a stubble like no one's business. Looks like the 34C, but in terms of efficiency, as expected, outperforms it. Is it by much? Not by much, but there are these fans that really chase that ultra smooth glass BBS. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to go with stainless steel, more pricey option and more efficient, RazoRock is offering their gold for $89 US, $90 US, and around 130 Canadian. If you want to go with something more autopilot, beginner friendly, really smooth and good for beginners, irritation free for your skin, that's a classic choice by Merkur, the 34C. You cannot go wrong, and it's also more affordable. You can find it here easily for 30-40 Canadian dollars, depending on whatever handle you want to pick with it. That was a little bit longer video than usual, but I had fun. It was really cool to compare these 2 razors. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Did you enjoy this type of comparison? And I'll see you in the next shave. Until then, take care.